Hi there, welcome back to the channel. So I have all my stuff here. I'm going to mail my Strat to Toby Russell, the builder of the Strat body, but I'm trying to get all the parts together. So I thought I'd do a quick video where I install these Fender Staggered tuners. And the reason I got Staggered tuners is that I thought perhaps with this neck that I could avoid having a string tree. And I don't have anything against string trees, and I don't think they affect anything in a negative way. In fact, they do a lot of good. But it just looks so nice, you know. And I definitely do not want to drill into this neck. After my drilling escapades with the Limba body and my pathetic skills and drills, I'm not even going to try it. So I was going to get Toby's advice and send him one of those 50s. I've got one of those. I'll pull that out in a second. But I didn't want to do any drilling, so I was going to see if the Staggered tuners could make it where you don't have to have them, because you know the the string trees, what they do is they create a rake angle so that there's enough pressure on the string on the nut so it doesn't bounce out. So I tried to take the strings out of a couple of guitars just to see what the difference was. And the sound was not really different, although there are some overtones that kind of happen too. That's another reason, is it sort of suppresses those weird, like sitar-like overtones, which I actually kind of like sitar-like overtones, but it can get to be where the sound is so odd that you're not really in control of it. So that's another thing string trees do, but what I could tell that it mainly did is it keeps the string from jumping out of the nut, because this is a long way to travel from the nut all the way up here, the nut to here. You know, once you get past the E and the A strings, these first two, it starts to be, you know, pretty far distance, and it just gets further and further out. So the need for those is in place. But with the Staggered tuner, and I've never even seen these before in person, so I don't know anything about them. But the idea is that you are dealing with a post that are lower, and then they get higher as it gets to the higher string, the heavier strings. But these, I think, it gets it way down low, which is the idea of the string tree, is to get the string down low on the post so that you have enough downward pressure on the nut so it doesn't jump out. So I think as long as it's not jumping out of the nut, you don't need the string trees. But I'm going to get Toby's advice. He knows way more. He just knows, you know, what he's done. It's that time in the saddle thing. So he's seen the trail ahead, so to speak. So he knows what to do. Okay, so I'm going to just see what he says. Here we go. I'm going to take these, open this up here, get this out, and start installing. I don't think this is going to be difficult. I've never done it before. I've never actually installed tuners on a Strat, only on Gibson style builds and my Gibson style guitars that I've messed around with. Okay, so here we go. Here's what we have, and I'm assuming, I don't know if there's any instructions here or what, but I'm assuming that it's going to go in the order that it's presented here. Okay, I think that this top one, like if you're looking at your the packaging on this with this thing on the bottom, I think this is going to be your low E, because I just took it out and it looks like it's nice and tall, like it would be taller. This first one was really low, so I'm going to assume that's the high E, because it's, you know, doing what it's supposed to do. It's getting the opening way down low. And also, these are not locking tuners. These are just the standard non-locking. I don't want to use locking tuners because I have a special tuning method that I don't know if it'll work with locking tuners or not. It works amazingly well. It's the Martin style of tuning, and I use it on Strats, the style of stringing, I'm sorry. And I've got a video where I show how I do it on the Squire video, but it's incredible. I love it. So I'm stuck on that method, so I don't ever use the locking ones, because it's so easy to put it in and on, and it works. It keeps it in tune, that I just haven't wanted to mess around with the locking things. I don't know if I'll be able to keep it in tune. And it's always like more expensive and stuff, and I don't like the huge knobs on the back. I like the way this is like kind of clean, you know, because they have those huge locking things. Okay, so, but those can look really nice, so I'm sure I'll change my mind about that. So right, here we have these little two holes, right, on the back of your headstock. You've got the tuning, you've got the hole, and then you've got these little divots, or whatever you call these little holes, because on the back of the tuning peg, you've got the little male ends. There's two little connectors. So I'm going to go from the back. I mean, this is pretty simple and straightforward. I think most people could just do this. I've never done it before, but nice snug fit. We don't have to do any hole reaming, which is always nice with guitars. There. Okay, so and then we got this little thing here where you go this piece here. This is like a I don't know what you call this. Wait, I'm sorry. You have to put this down first. This will protect the headstock, and it just looks nice. And you just kind of push that one down and screw it in. Once you get it, make sure you engage with the, and then it's on. Pretty simple. This is the kind of stuff I can do. So I like that, and I like the way it looks. It's nice and clean. This is like the modern Fender way. I guess this started in the 80s, 70s. So anyway, yeah, got my pilot holes already screwed, so hopefully, I know Toby knows what to do. This is what was freaking me out, is drilling the neck holes. So anyway, we got the first one, and the rest go the same way. Let me just knock them on, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, so I've installed 4 of them, and you can see now that it's staggered. Look how the posts go from high to low as it works its way up the neck. So we'll hope that that's enough to not need a string tree, but once again I'm going to get Toby's advice, and if he thinks I should install one, I was thinking of putting one, I have it here, I'll pull it out, the circular Fender one. So got a couple more to go, and I thought I would just do these on camera so you could just see, just to make sure you know how to do it. You never know. Everything. This is like my level of what I can do with guitars, is like assemble things and set things up, do a little staining. But everybody starts. I mean, it took me a while to get to this point, so everybody starts somewhere. Okay, so we have this, and I noticed on one of these it was really hard to get it on, so you have to use some firmness to your grip. Let's look at the way this looks. Yeah, it looks just like these. It's really cool. Never knew how these worked. I like the way this like peg and groove system. Smart. Fender for the innovation. Although somebody else may have come up with this, I don't know. Someone that knows can educate us if you ever see this video. Okay, so I'm just lining up the little pegs, just so I don't, you know. So I just kind of line it up, and then it's kind of dark over here. Make sure I've got it lined. Looks like it's lined up here. And then I just sort of push it in, making sure. Yeah, that looks like it's making contact. Now it's in there, and then you just sort of. Yeah, this one went on easily. I think this one, yeah, this one was really stiff. I had to really push it on. Okay, and then here's our top stuff. We have our washers. Okay, and then finally, last one. And I would assume this will be the lowest one. That's how you know if you've done it correctly as far as the staggering goes, is if it's, you know, descending. You want these to be the lowest. And I think that's all pretty obvious. Okay, so let me just push that on here. Once again, it's hard to see in here. Need some better lighting in the house. I shoot videos here at home. Move this over just a tad. Get it lined up, went right on. So you can see sometimes they'll be like, oh, this one's sitting up too. Both of these need to be pressed down a little bit more. There, and it's like a satisfying when the really tight ones when you get it to go in. And I haven't used any tools, just my hands. Now, if for some reason your tuner holes were stiff and you weren't able to push through, you got to do a little reaming, and those tools are easy to find. Like StewMac has it. I'm sure you can get a cheap one on eBay if the StewMac one is too expensive. But those are, I believe that would be handy to have. I don't have one myself, and because I've never worked with these necks before, and Toby's going to help me the rest of the way. So if something like that had come up, I probably would have had him do it at this point, especially with this brand new, beautiful little neck. But you can see, and it's hard to tell on these four. I'm not done installing. I'll have to tighten all these up. And I usually find a little ratchet, a little socket, and put that on top and just tighten them up. That way you don't get any, you don't chuck up the washer or the nut. Okay, so I'm going to assume that's correct. I took it out of the box in the order that it came, and I could tell that this was the low E and this was the high E. If I've done something wrong, Toby will know, and he'll educate me, and then I'll try to update. But as you can see, here we go. Let me aim it this way. So this one should be the tallest, and then you can see it gets lower for these four. Now, the string tree that I was going to use is this 50s vintage looking one. String tree. That's pretty cool. So it's a little bitty Callahan string tree, and it's the round one. So, and it's chrome. Looks really little. Oh well. I'm going to send that to Toby and see what he thinks. See if I can get away with not having to put one on. It sure does look pretty without one on. See how that looks so nice? And I know the Eric Johnson Strat. Oh, and I bought this from, I want to make sure I always do a shout out, so to speak. I hate that term, but Tone Shapers Incorporated. And I'll put it, this was an eBay, and these guys were good. They got this here like in 2 days. And it was cheap, and it's a Callahan, whatever you call it. So anyway, Staggered tuners on this beautiful Fender roasted Ferrule fretboard neck. Feels a little heavier now with these Staggered tuners, but it looks fantastic. And this will give him a way to, you know, line up the neck when he gets it, because he's going to drill the vintage trim holes for me on the tremolo that goes on. I'm doing the vintage one with the 6 screws, and you've got to get that baby lined up. And I think what you do is you take an E string and an E string, and you get the guitar lined up. And you know, and neck placement too. You set all that stuff up. Luckily, I'm not doing that. Toby's helping me, thank God. All right. So anyway, thanks again.